During the late 1800s, in the vast expanse of the American frontier, where the promise of a new life beckoned on the trail to golden California, pioneers embarked on perilous journeys, facing the relentless challenges of the untamed wilderness. Amidst the rugged landscapes and the ever-present threat of native, and in this case, Apache raids, a Texan outfit, battle-hardened by years of conflict with both Comanche and Mexican foes, found themselves engaged in a treacherous journey through Arizona's exceedingly hostile Apache territory. The story unfolds with a much-needed reprieve in the friendly pueblo of Tucson, where the pioneers, lulled into a sense of security, postpone their departure, unaware that watchful eyes shadow their every move. In the following narrative, discover the tale of an Apache scout, his vigilant gaze cast from a hidden vantage, and the chilling patience that would soon unveil a tragic twist in the odyssey of those seeking a new beginning on the unforgiving frontier. Welcome to The Shadows and the Past, where history meets mystery and the past is your present. Hit the like and subscribe to join us as we delve into a world where the boundaries between survival and demise are as unpredictable as the winds that whip across the desolate landscapes of America's Old West.
Often I hear the remark, "A scout leads such an adventurous and exciting life, I don't see how he can stand the humdrum of ordinary existence." The answer is that the scout's greatest enemy is the same boredom that threatens the soldier guarding a bridge or the lighthouse keeper on his lonely rock in the sea. Boredom is endurance gone soft. Endurance is the hard-trained muscle of the will. The patient endurance of the Indian scout was ever as potent a weapon as the polished points of his arrows.
Above are the words of Major Frederick Russell Burnham, U.S. Army scout during the Apache Wars and hunt for Geronimo, and later a scout for the British South Africa Company during multiple wars. No stranger to the perils of fortune in uncertain conflicts, Burnham was thoroughly qualified to provide the above insight, as well as the tale underpinning it. The Texan wagon train, a caravan of resilient frontier families, rolled into the friendly pueblo of Tucson, seeking respite from the relentless dangers of the Apache-laden trail. War-weary from previous battles against Comanche and Mexican enemies, and relieved at their successful passage through Apacheria, the pioneers found solace in the welcoming atmosphere of Tucson. Caution lingered in the air, a collective memory etched in their every step as they adjusted to their newly relaxed reality. They no longer needed to scout for miles around their wagon train, vigilantly guarding their loose stock against the ever-watchful eyes of the Apache. The Blue Mountains of Pinal loomed to the north and east, while the Catalinas stood as the formidable stronghold of the Apache. To the west, the vigilant Pimas, enemies to the Apache and friends to the settlers, controlled the deserts and lower mountains. Despite the dangers that shadowed their journey, the valley of Santa Cruz unfolded before them, offering a much-needed haven of good pasture. The pioneers, battle-hardened and strong, twice postponed their departure, their spirits lifted by the gay and friendly atmosphere of Tucson. Yet, the Texan outfit remained oblivious to the quiet observations of the Apache, who had tracked them silently west through the wilderness toward Tucson. Unbeknownst to the pioneers, the respite in Tucson merely marked the calm before the monsoon storm, as the worst part of their perilous journey lay ahead. A journey that would soon test the mettle of their endurance and the unsuspecting vulnerability of their posture. As the Texan pioneers reveled in their vigilant, successful passage through Apacheria and the seemingly friendly embrace of lush Tucson, the Apache chiefs behind the formidable Catalinas devised a sinister plan. The watchful eyes of Apache scouts had followed the wagon train's every move through their sacred land. They had chosen to not attack due to the Texans' strong defensive posture. The Apache, masters of the balance between strength and weakness, recognized an opportunity to strike with cunning precision. The Apache anticipated that upon their departure from Tucson, the Texans might lower their guard because they had already traversed Apacheria and would then be in friendly Pima territory. This in turn would provide the advantage the Apache had been patiently awaiting. An old Apache chief, wise from years of skirmishes and raids, selected a young scout for a critical mission. He provided the following instructions.
One day's march towards sunset from Tucson is the thorn in the sky, the mountain the white man calls Picacho. It is very steep and very dry. Near the tip of the thorn is a crevice in the rock that may still seep a few drops of water every day. Even the Pimas do not know of this lookout, for I was sent there in my youth to watch the Pimas when we were about to raid Tucson. With the white man's mirror glass, we can signal our scouts on the sunset edge of the Catalinas. If the mirror fails, we will give you the smoke signal by day, or the flame by night from the dried cactus. You must use the green weed smoke and the dry twig fire only if necessary. Don't cough, scare a bird, or stir a bush. You know how to make a tiny fire and surround it with a blanket, for it is very cold on the mountain at night. I will not let you have a gun, for you are more expert with the bow and arrow. From our camp on the river, my squaw will give you baked mezcal, dried venison, and also some pinochet we captured from the Mexicans in our last big raid on Sonora. Be sure to blot your trail. Now here is some Pima footgear. Use it, for the Pimas have eyes.
Thus, the young Apache scout embarked on a perilous journey, 30 miles into hostile territory, guided only by the chief's instructions and the endurance etched into his very being by the extreme need for success in his daunting challenge. His mission, to observe and signal the impending departure of the Texan wagon train, setting the stage for a strategic ambush that would test the limits of both Apache prowess and the unsuspecting pioneer's resolve. Under the vast expanse of the southwestern sky, the young Apache scout ventured deep into hostile territory, guided by the chief's instructions and the whispers of the wind. 30 miles into the wilderness, he ascended the steep peak of Picacho, discovering the hidden crevice with the precious seepage, just as the chief had foretold. The lookout became his perch for a vigilant gaze that stretched south across the horizon. Every morning, the scout meticulously flashed signals to watchers on the western edge of the Catalinas, and every evening, their distant response echoed the command, "Stay on." Days melted into weeks as the scout's meager food supply dwindled, yet his resolve remained unyielding. Picacho Peak, with its stark beauty, witnessed the solitary figure, surrounded by ancient rocks and arid winds. The scout's only companions were the elements and the memory of the chief's instructions. Patiently, he endured the isolation, the biting cold of the mountain nights, and the prospect of ever-watchful eyes cast upon him from unseen quarters. On the 21st day, a message blinked south across the horizon from Picacho Peak. "Big camp near." The Texan wagon train, unsuspecting of the unseen watcher, camped just below the peak, at peace, now that they had navigated the lands of their feared enemy. Little did they know that the scout's vigil, forged in the crucible of endurance, had set the stage for a fateful encounter that would unravel the illusion of safety in the seemingly peaceful desert night. Beneath the shadow of Picacho Peak, the Texans camped, unaware of the silent figures that moved with predatory grace on the level desert west of the peak. The wily Apache chief had strategically positioned his warriors, blending seamlessly with the sparse creosote bush that stretched as far as the eye could see. Along narrow watercourses, imperceptible to the unsuspecting eye, the Apache lay in wait, concealed by the benign, gently undulating terrain. The Texans, lulled into a false sense of security by the supposedly peaceful surroundings, sent a few horsemen to reconnoiter the wagon tracks. No Indian sign was observed, and the advance guard remained unmolested as they passed by the invisibly ensconced ambush party. In the carefree rhythm of the journey, the caravan marched into the ambush. The Apache, guided by the unspoken rules of their warfare, struck when least expected. The advance guard hastened back towards the attack, and the rear guard closed in, but it was too late. The desert solitude erupted in chaos as the Apache descended upon the caravan. Arrows whistled through the air, and the sky was seared by the billowing black clouds of wagons burning. The ambush unfolded with ruthless efficiency, and the goal of the game, the Texans' provisions and livestock, was driven east and back up the San Pedro River, disappearing behind the high ramparts of the Santa Catalinas into the depths of Apacheria. The Apache, adhering to their code of unpredictability, had executed the ambush in the heart of the Texans' perceived safety, leaving behind a scene of devastation and shattered dreams beneath the looming scorn of Picacho's Peak. The once vibrant desert visage now bore witness to the aftermath of the carnage of the ambush, burned wagons, scattered possessions, and the anguished cries of those who had ventured into the unforgiving frontier. As the survivors grappled with the brutal reality of their shattered expedition, the lesson of the Apache scout unfolded. The Texan pioneers, strong and battle-hardened, had met their match in the enduring patience and tactical prowess of the Apache. The enigmatic chief, the mastermind behind the ambush, repeatedly avoided anticipation, enabling his force to bypass the pioneers' perceived strength. The unspoken twin rule of the Apache scout, patient endurance and enduring patience, echoed in the somber wind. The very endurance that had guided the Apache scout through his solitary vigil had now become the guiding light of the Apache raiders. The unforgiving frontier had claimed its toll, and the Texan outfit, once driven by dreams of California's promise, now faced the harsh reality of loss and defeat, a poignant reminder of the relentless and unpredictable nature of survival on the American frontier. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a melancholic glow on the chaotic landscape, the remnants of the caravan bore witness to the harsh reality of the frontier's unyielding nature. The tale of the Apache scout served as a cautionary saga, a reminder that on the American frontier, survival demanded more than strength and resilience. The above story is from Major Frederick Russell Burnham's aptly titled Taking Chances. Burnham, born in 1861 in Minnesota, served as a scout for the U.S. Army during the Apache Wars in Arizona, including during the ultimately successful hunt for Geronimo, and subsequently played a significant scouting role in the First and Second Matabele Wars and the Second Boer War in southern Africa. Although a date for and the personalities involved in this action are presently unavailable, a review of the historical record lends credence to the idea that the Apache did conduct raids against wagon trains near Picacho Peak. For example, 11 primarily Pinal Apache attacks were recorded near Picacho Peak between the years 1869 and 1874. In concert with Burnham attributing the sourcing of this saga to an anonymous Apache chief, this data suggests this enigmatic tale should inspire curiosity as to the details of its particulars. Ah well, such is life in the shadows. If you'd like more secret stories of cunning, endurance and iron resolve, hit the like and subscribe to ride along as we explore the secrets lurking in the shadows and echoing through the corridors of the past. Welcome to the Shadows and the Past, where history meets mystery and the past is your present.